Good Friday morning. Ball State began construction on the new Performing Arts Center.
Plus, a local bookstore continues to repurpose old books.
And find out how to stay safe this Thanksgiving. Get the coffee ready and open up those eyes. You're waking up with Cardinal weather.
From Ball State Unified Media, you're waking up with Cardinal weather, live from the Ball State Weather Center.
Good Friday morning to you. You're waking up with Cardinal weather. I'm Ava Lenz.
And I'm Jackson White.
It's a big day for Ball State. A new Performing Arts Center officially began construction yesterday.
Newslink's Indiana's Kamara Munn joins us at the site to fill us in on what this means for the community.
Ball State's Village Revitalization Plan is in action here on campus. A groundbreaking was held earlier today to celebrate the new Performing Arts Center and Hotel. With over 160 performances annually, Department Chair of Theater and Dance Bill Jenkins says this new amenity will enhance the experiences of students.
I don't think we can overstate the importance of this venue. We're in facilities now that are almost 70 years old, and those venues were not built for the programs that we have. So this new venue will actually be indicative of the quality of the programs that we have.
These new additions to campus are part of President Murren's strategic plan, Destination 2040. He is elated about the community engagement during the process.
This has been a long-term project by so many people at the university and so many people in the community, and it's just wonderful to be a part of seeing their vision, seeing their hard work come to fruition with this ceremonial groundbreaking.
Developed by Shockley Hotels, Kentiel Hotel will have 97 rooms with a rooftop bar and ground floor restaurant. Greg Shockett, president and CFO of Shockett Hotels, hopes the hotel will be a home away from home.
Some people being so close to Indy and Fishers and Noblesville, sometimes they'll go back home if they're up here. We're hopeful that a lot of people that are up here will now say, you know what, this place is super cool. We want to spend the night and spend a little extra time here in Muncie.
The ceremony gathered many community members, students, and staff to celebrate a step forward in improving the experiences of campus.
Ford is getting hit with a staggering $165 million fine for its response in recalling vehicles with faulty rear view cameras. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says after a 3-year investigation, it found that the company moved too slowly to report and address the issue. The recall, which started in 2020, affects more than 600,000 vehicles with cameras that drivers said sometimes go blank. The NHTSA is also requiring Ford to invest in new safety tech and meet with agency officials every quarter. Ford says there were no fatalities, or injuries related to the recall, but it will pay the fine and meet the requirements to prevent similar future delays.
And now let's take it over to local weather with Jay.
Thank you, Ava. Thank you, Jackson. We're going to start off looking at the current temperatures out here. We have 46 in Indianapolis, 48 up in Muncie and Fort Wayne. Pretty consistent throughout the this morning. Now what we're going to be looking at is a couple spotty showers in the viewing area this morning. These are going to be very brief and short-lived intermittent showers that will move on out of here as we get further along in the morning. And out the door forecast for you this morning, if you have not yet headed out the door, we have it's 8 a.m., 46 degrees, and then it should warm up into the 50s, mid-50s by late afternoon into that early evening before cooling off a little bit as we head later on into the evening. And for what we will be tracking for today on the show is a mild weekend upcoming with a warm-up incoming next weekend, followed by more rain chances later on into next week.
Coming up, see how a local bookstore is impacting the community.
And that's after your weather now.
Welcome back. One Muncie bookstore owner is using her lifelong dream to pull underrepresented authors off the page and into the spotlight. Newsweek Indiana's Abby Urban reports.
I am the book boss.
In a little shop on High Street, books are more than pages and covers. They are stories. Ink Drinkers Anonymous is a local bookstore that works to bring underrepresented authors to the front cover.
My focus with the bookstore is diverse authors and stories. Inclusivity and diversity is really important to me because there's a lot of that lacking in the available books and literature that are out there. So I wanted to be a hub that provided that to the community.
Growing up, Kaylee rarely read books with a character that looked like her. So she wanted to house a space of inclusivity to show young people that they can be the hero in their own story. Kaylee also uses another way to share the love of reading, and that is decorating.
So I like to repurpose books whenever I can. I did it with my sign out front as well. But whenever I get in books that are damaged or honestly just need to hit the bin otherwise, I like to repurpose them some way. So I took, I would say probably 3 or 4 different books, and I Mod Podged them on here to make a cute little countertop.
Even though they are moving to a new location, Ink Drinkers Anonymous will still work to continue to represent all authors one page turn at a time. In Muncie, Abby Urban, Newslink, Indiana.
Ink Drinkers Anonymous will be closing its current location on December 20th, but will reopen on Patterson Block on January 4th.
Stargazers have a special reason to look skyward this weekend. The last supermoon of the year is arriving tonight. That's when a full moon happens while it's at its closest approach to the Earth, making the moon brighter and bigger than usual. The moon will also be a beaver moon, which got its name because November is when beavers prepare for winter and straightening their dams and storing more food.
And now let's take it over to national weather with Rachel.
Thank you so much, you guys. Looking at our current temperatures, we see that it's already 47 down in Fort Worth and Dallas, Texas, and up north we see mid to low 20s, 30s for our current temperatures. And then as we look at today's high, we see it's going to be a bit warmer than what we saw last week, 70 hitting for the high but for down south, and then high 50s, low 60s for the central portions, and then low 40s, low 50s for the north. And then taking a look at our current watches and our current warnings, we are going to start out in the east. We see that up here near the Massachusetts, Vermont area, we see that there is already a red flag warning, and down south we see a fire weather watch. And the difference between these two is they both talk about the fire conditions within the area, but the warning means that it's going to occur, or it hasn't occurred yet, but the watch means it is possibly going to occur, but it hasn't happened yet. And then down south near Jersey, we see that there is a coastal flood advisory, meaning higher tides coming in. And then for our central portion, we see a dense fog advisory, and what this means is lower visibility conditions. And then just down south, we see a frost advisory as well as a freeze warning for Oklahoma and Arkansas. And then for the south, for the southwest, we see Arizona with a wind advisory, and then California with actually a winter weather advisory, meaning 1 to 3 inches of snow. But we see just north of that, towards Oregon and Washington, we see that there is a winter weather watch occurring, which is actually more snow, 12 to 24 inches possible. And then towards the Idaho, we also see another winter weather advisory, as well as a higher wind watch. And then we can actually see this visibly on radar. We see the snow conditions happening out west, as well as the rainier conditions happening in the east. And then we see this on our precision cast for the next couple of days. And I don't know about you guys, but I can tell that the temperatures are just going to continue dropping as we continue on into next week.
Yes, I know. The weather has recently been so cold. I've
I
had to
know.
bring out my winter jacket. It's crazy. I don't know.
I mean, I'm just not really a fan of the cold weather. I'm a summer guy, so this to me isn't that fun.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Coming up, find out how to keep your family safe this Thanksgiving.
That's after your weather now.
Welcome back. The time is 8:12, and you're taking a live look outside the Cooper Science Building. Thanksgiving is 2 weeks away, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture is sending out its yearly safety food reminders. The USDA is encouraging inexperienced cooks and experts to practice food safety this holiday season. When you're shopping for your turkey, the USDA recommends picking it up at the end of your grocery shopping to keep it cold as long as possible. It also says you should check that the packaging isn't torn to prevent the spread of bacteria. If you're planning to cook a turkey, remember it can be safely thawed in a refrigerator or in cold water. When serving food to groups, remember the 2-hour rule. This goes for perishable foods that have sat out at room temperature for more than 2 hours. The USDA says that food becomes unsafe due to the bacterial growth and must be discarded. If you have food safety questions ahead of planning your feast, you can call the USDA Meat and Poultry Hotline.
It was a bad day for vaccine makers on Wall Street Thursday. Moments after President-elect Trump tapped prominent anti-vaccine conspiracy theorist Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead his HHS, shares for the prominent vaccine makers plunged. Both Moderna and Novavax dipped as much as 6% at closing after RFK Jr. was nominated to the head of the Department of Health and Human Services, and Pfizer almost 2%. For years, Kennedy has frequently spread falsehoods about the safety and efficacy of vaccines. He has vowed to immediately start studying vaccine safety when he takes office. Kennedy has promised, however, not to take vaccines away from anybody, but to let consumers make their own informed decisions about their medical care.
And now let's take it over to local weather with Jay.
But
taking a look at the precision cast here, we see not much going on in the way of rain around the area here. As we can see, pretty clear skies currently after the showers moved into the region yesterday. And then looking at the current temperatures, 46 around Indianapolis, 48 in Muncie, up towards Fort Wayne, 48 as well, and then pretty consistent around the entirety of the state. Mid to upper 40s throughout, and that'll continue to warm up as we head further along in the morning. 24-hour temperature change is kind of an interesting one here. We can see the further south and west you get in the state, the bigger temperature drops over the past 24 hours have occurred, as we see an 8-degree drop from Indianapolis, Terre Haute, and Bloomington. But up towards Fort Wayne, only a 3-degree temperature drop over the past 24 hours, which is interesting. And now for the almanac for yesterday, we reached a high of 53 degrees, and the average is 58, so just a little bit below the average for this time of year. And then the record of 71 back in 1989, we were not close to the record. However, later on next week, we could have a day or two that challenges yet another record high for that day. 9 a.m. should be about 48 degrees. It's going to be relatively overcast throughout most of the day. Best chance for that sunshine will be later on in the afternoon, or by around noon towards 5 p.m. 52 degrees, peaking at around 55 for your high at 5 p.m. That's around when we should have the best chance to see any sunshine if we are in fact to get some today. Now this precision cast showing the cloud cover that is going to dominate much of today should push east and out of our area by late this evening into the overnight hours, where it then will get clear before another round of cloud cover comes in from the north, and that will move in at around 5 p.m. tomorrow, and then it's going to dominate much of the rest of that weekend, including Sunday, before we have some rain that's going to come down into the area for next week. Those wind gusts are going to be quite calm tomorrow as we wake up and head out throughout the day, peaking at around Sunday morning, potentially seeing gusts at around 20 miles an hour in the viewing area before tapering off again into Monday. And for that 7-day forecast, 55 degrees is your high today. Warming up into the weekend, 58 Saturday, 64 Sunday, and then 65 Monday. Take a look at Tuesday. We have 71 degrees. That's when we could potentially be challenging record highs for that day, for Tuesday. And then we're going to see a lot of rain move into the area throughout, starting around Monday and then pushing into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is when we really start to see all of that rain move into the area. And then the big cool down as well after bringing us that rain. Now, we had a bunch of rain yesterday as well, and it was pretty washed out. I know a lot of outdoor activities were canceled and stuff like that, but...
Yeah, not only were some things canceled, but like it was so cold out too.
It was very cold.
I felt like it was just like rain hitting me, and I was so cold out the entire day. How about you?
It was cold, gloomy, everything you don't like in a day, but hopefully, it looks like next week it's going to get a little warmer.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Jay. Coming up, find out who won the NASCAR championship.
But that's after your weather now. All right. Welcome back to Waking Up with Cardinal Weather. I'm Jackson White with sports. A NASCAR Series Cup champion was crowned in Phoenix last Sunday. Tyler Reddick, William Byron, and teammates Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney would be the 4 drivers entering the desert with championship aspirations, but only one could claim the title of champion. After 4 drivers constantly ran inside the top 10 all race, it would be Joey Logano making a power move to the inside and gaining the lead with 54 laps to go. Blaney would do his best to chase down Logano in the closing laps, coming within just a few car lengths, but it would not be enough. Logano would beat Blaney to the line by just 0.3 of a second to claim his 3rd NASCAR Series Cup title, making him just the 10th driver in history to do so. The highly anticipated return of boxing legend Mike Tyson is tonight, who is stepping in the ring for the first time in nearly 20 years, taking on social media sensation turned boxer Jake Paul. The fight is set to take place this Friday at the legendary AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, the home of the Dallas Cowboys. And it's not just any fight. This will be one streamed worldwide on Netflix, marketing a major shift in how combat sports are delivered and to the masses. The buzz around this matchup has been electric, with a crowd of at least 60,000 people expected for the showdown. But while Tyson and Paul may have seemed like an unlikely pairing, the rivalry has sparked both intrigue and controversy. Paul says, "I'm the new kid on the block. I built my career as a heel. People want to root against me, and that's great for the sport of boxing." It's that polarizing persona that has made Jake Paul, at 27 years old, both a lightning rod for criticism and a big draw in the world of boxing. Paul has accumulated a 10-1 record and a really short career with 7 knockouts to his name, but it's worth noticing that most of Paul's victories have come against mixed martial artists and journeyman boxers, not seasoned vets. In contrast, Mike Tyson's career is one for the history books. Now 58 years old, Tyson has been one of boxing's most iconic figures over a career that spanned decades. Tyson amassed 50 wins in 56 fights, an astonishing 44 of those were by knockout. Tyson's last official fight was back in 2005, but now after nearly 2 decades away from the sport, he returns in the ring, and he does doing it in a big way. In front of a massive global audience, Tyson is no stranger to controversy himself. Of course, the infamous ear-biting incident in 1997 remains one of the most talked about moments in boxing history. And despite the controversy, Tyson's mystique and legacy is undeniable. Tyson says, "I've been through a lot in my life, but boxing has always been my home. It's where I feel alive, and I'm ready to show the world that the old Mike Tyson can still bring it." While Tyson may be the seasoned vet, the question everyone is asking, can the 58-year-old former champion still compete at the highest level, or will the younger, brash Jake Paul pull off an upset that that would shock the world? Tyson has always been known for his speed, power, and furiosity, but time is a factor. Paul's, on the other hand, has youth and determination on his side. The hype is real as these two prepare to square off in one of the most intriguing matchups in recent boxing history. The world will be watching whether you're a longtime Tyson fan or a follower of the rise in Jake Paul's combat sports career. The fight is sure to capture the attention of fans worldwide. The fight will take place at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, and will be streamed live on Netflix for millions of subscribers across the globe. Be sure to tune in for what promises to be a historic night in boxing. Coming up, we've got your breaking down the science, but that's after your weather now.
Welcome back. A couple in Australia say they were shocked, scared, happy, and excited when they came home and found a koala in their bedroom. The wife recorded a video and posted it on social media with the caption, "Only in Australia." The video shows the koala sitting on the floor, then hopping onto the bedside table and the bed. They think the koala might have snuck inside through the pet door. It left after the husband used a sweater to try to guide it outside. Koalas rarely attack people. They're mostly found in the east and southeast of Australia. And now let's take it over to breaking down the science with Olivia.
Thanks, guys. So we are tackling a big topic today for breaking down the science. We're going to be talking about climate change. And so climate change is the long-term warming of the planet. Since 1982, the rate of warming has tripled, so 0.36 degrees Fahrenheit per decade, and it's basically caused by human activities. So the greenhouse effect is a natural process in which certain gases trap heat from the sun. We can see in this diagram here, it makes the Earth habitable because it acts like a blanket that traps in the heat. But because of human emissions, we are exceeding the amount necessary. So burning fossil fuels and deforestation, landfills and farming, as well as other burning of fossil fuels really is the main thing. And because of this, it creates extreme weather, which we can see has been occurring. Storms get the energy they need to intensify from warm air, from warm oceans. That's why we've been seeing more hurricanes, more active hurricane season. And this also leads to droughts and heat waves because of the increased temperatures. There's more evaporation occurring. And then winter weather is also more intense, which is a little bit contradictory, but because there's more moisture in the air, there's more snow, there's more blizzards and snowfall that is occurring. And then this is leading to loss of species. And overall, it's definitely an issue that everyone should be educated about. And what can you do? So individually, using energy efficient resources, creating less waste, eating less meat, because as we can see here, methane is created from landfills and livestock waste. So if you're eating less meat, it'll lessen your personal carbon footprint. And as a society, renewable energy using wind and solar panels and things like that can help combat this. And climate policies locally, Muncie has a climate action plan, so being aware of that and trying to do the best you can to lessen your carbon footprint, doing things like thrifting or just being more aware of your trash and how you leave your impact on the environment.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Olivia, for that. And now let's take it back over to Jay with local weather.
Thank you again. So the 7-day forecast for you here, we have 55 degrees as your high for Friday. That's today. It's going to be pretty cloudy throughout most of the day before we finally get sunshine chances into tomorrow when we hit 58 degrees. And then a big warm up into early next week. 71 is the one I want to point out Tuesday when we could potentially set a record for that day. And with that comes a system bringing potentially a decent amount of rain into mid to late next week, as well as a big cool-off 57 down into the 40s by late next week. Now, I am an impatient person, so this gloomy weather, even though it hasn't been very long-lasting, I'm ready for this warm-up this weekend and potential return of sunshine.
Yeah, I know. I think it's so crazy how literally we're going from like 50 degrees to all of a sudden Tuesday it's going to be on 71, and that is just...
That's Indiana for you.
Yeah, to me, I feel like the weather needs to make up its mind on either if it's hot or cold for the day.
Right in that tricky area between fall and winter where we can get 71 day and 30s the next day. So
yeah, I know. It's so weird. And to me, like, especially with people getting sick and things like that, the weather can definitely play into that.
Absolutely.
And it's just so crazy. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I agree. Like right now, I kind of have a little bit of a sickness myself. So I mean, the weather's just changing and constantly evolving. And I mean, hey, the 71 really does look good. I'm excited for Tuesday.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Jay. That's all for Cardinal Weather this Friday morning. Thank you for joining us.
And we'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your Friday and a fantastic weekend.